Aloha! We are back with episode 6 of Trust the Effing Podcast, Self-Love for the Win. On today's show, we chat and have some good laughs about self-love, including our experiences in not loving ourselves the way we deserved. We share exercises and habits that have allowed us to open our hearts and to boost our love for self, and in turn, boost our self-esteem, confidence, and allow us to have a happier inner and outer life experience. Thanks for all your support, comments, and messages. And if you're new here, then welcome. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Now, without further ado, get comfy and enjoy today's show.
Oh, Rebecca, I got to tell you this really amazing thing that happened to me over the weekend when I was traveling. Are you ready for this one?
Yes, please. I'm looking forward to it.
So this is really wild. And I have been doing a lot of thinking about how I can deepen my relationship with myself and deepen my feelings of love for myself. And I had this incredible experience when I was traveling. I was actually driving when this happened on Friday. And as I was driving my car, it was like this feeling overtook me, and it's hard to explain, so stay with me. But I had all of a sudden this feeling of lightness and love like overtake me. And then in my mind's eye, I had this vision of myself standing in front of me, right? So it was almost like I was cloned, but it wasn't a
Wow.
clone, it was me. And I was looking at myself, and I had like this halo of light, the being I'm looking at, myself that I'm looking at. I had this halo of light around me. And as I was looking at myself, I was overcome with this strong feeling of love and adoration for
So
me.
beautiful.
It was incredible. It was like an experience that I haven't had before, although I have had moments or glimpses of experiencing really strong love for myself. Nothing compared to this. It was almost like looking at a loved one that you just truly adore and just recognizing them for all the lovely things that they are, or when I look at my daughter, that's how I feel. I look at her and I feel these strong feelings of love just because she exists. But I was looking at myself and feeling that, and it was
Wow.
so amazing. It brought tears to my eyes. Here I am driving along. I'm like feeling this intense feeling of love, and tears are streaming down my face, and I remember saying out loud, "I get it now. I get it. I get it. Oh my gosh, I get it." And it went on for about 20 minutes or more, I would say. Just this
Wow.
intense feeling of love for myself, and I just was, like, kind of hugging myself and rubbing my arms and just soaking it in and looking at myself in the rearview mirror and saying, "I love you so much." It was incredible.
I love it. That's truly amazing. And don't we wish we were walking around loving ourselves that much all day long?
For sure. What was really cool about it was, get this, the previous night, I was at my women's circle, and we were doing a Lionsgate activation ceremony where we were creating intention boards. And I remember sitting there thinking, what do I really want? What would truly be great for me to call in right now, right? This is such a peak time for manifestation. What would be just amazing for me to call in right now? And the first idea that came to me was self-love, more self-love. And I put that intention out there. I really like held that idea in my mind and just kind of closed my eyes and meditated on it for a quick minute, and then put my intention board together, which was all about loving myself, right? And it seemed like less than 24 hours later, here it was happening. I finally got it. But one of the odd things was, after I had like that intense 20 minutes or so in the car, it kind of faded to the background. And I'm not like walking around every day experiencing that feeling anymore. But it's like that saying, once you see it, you can't unsee it. I can't unknow those feelings now. And now I have a stronger idea of how important it is.
So important. That's such an incredible experience. And right away, what came to my mind was almost like, I think you manifested it and it came to fruition really quickly. I feel like that was almost like a download that you were receiving of that extra self-love you're looking for, or maybe your ability to be open to it more, to see it more. You're actually reminding me of years ago when I was first starting therapy, working with this woman, and she had said to me, I'm sending you home with some homework. And I was like, oh God, what is she going to make me do? And she said, what I want you to do, and it may not be easy, is I want you to go and stand in front of the mirror, and I want you to look into your own eyes, and I want you to say, I love you. Oh, Jen, I couldn't. I cried. I couldn't look at first of all, I could hardly look myself in the eye. And I couldn't believe, like, I think it shocked me or surprised me that, wow, like I can't even look at myself. And it was really hard, but I kept going back to it. I did it every day, even just for a minute. If I was in a rush, some days I did it for a few minutes. Finally, I could look right into my eyes. And then the trying to say I love you while looking into my eyes was hard at first. But it got easier too. And now I can definitely do it. And I feel like that was one of my first steps, first of all, to realizing how much I was not loving myself, and also to start being open to allowing that in, allowing myself to start forgiving, and giving myself more grace. I think that's actually a huge part of self-love. And I think if anyone out there that's listening has been in those states, that I was in, where I was full of just negative self-talk and criticism, not in a state of loving myself very much, because when we're talking to ourselves like that, that's, would you talk to your best friend like that? Would you talk to your child like that? Like, I would never have spoken to anybody else the way that I used to speak to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the mirror work it was a big step. It was really, I just remember being so surprised and then realizing how, okay, clearly there's a problem here. clearly I have some blocks. Have you, had any moments like that where you kind of realized you weren't loving yourself enough?
Oh my God, so many times during my life, there has been realizations. What am I doing? It's the question I'll ask myself.
Right?
What the hell am I doing? This isn't good for me. This doesn't fit. I'm not loving I'm not showing myself the dignity or the love that I deserve right now. Oh my God. The big thing that was interesting to me about all that was, I'm not telling myself I love myself because I look a certain way, because I've accomplished something, because I made it through something hard, or, I've done a specific thing. I should love myself. We should love ourselves just because we are, just because we exist, not because of anything we've done or how we look or what we do or what job we take on. We are lovable just because we are alive.
Yeah, you're really touching on something that's very important, and that is unconditional love. And, I think there's all different branches of love, self-love being of great importance, unconditional love being more important, because if we can love ourselves unconditionally, exactly what you're saying, it doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter if we accomplish things. It doesn't matter if we're a failure. I'm saying that with air quotes with my fingers, because really we're here learning, right? We're souls that are here having a human experience. So let's just calm down already. And I try to remind myself of that sometimes when I get too human. Get too human. But what's funny also about, like, I'm talking unconditional love, but when we come back to the form of self-love, like I think a lot of people also think of as like bubble baths and massages, right? And getting a pedicure and manicure, which those I think are definitely forms of self-love. I think meeting all of our needs is actually self-love. So yes, maybe you want to look good and have your skin soft. Or are you also allowing yourself to go pee when you feel like the urge to urinate, or are you holding it? Are you eating when you're hungry? Are you waiting until you're less busy? Right? These are also forms of, like, very simple forms that you can
Yes.
be loving, showing yourself that you love yourself. Because every time that we ignore those kind of cues that our body's giving us, we're kind of telling ourselves that we're not important. And the body doesn't work through like words and stuff, right? It works through these actions that we're showing it. And so I've tried to kind of focus on some of those and really be like, because I noticed I was doing a lot of that, like, oh, I can just wait 10 more minutes. I think an even bigger topic to do with that and to do with self-love has to do with disappointing ourselves is way more detrimental than disappointing other people. And I am a recovering people pleaser. Hi, my name's Rebecca. I'm a recovering people pleaser and codependence addict. So putting everyone else first has been my go-to for many, many years. And so I've been trying to rewire this, and this topic or focus on self-love is, yes, I've definitely given myself time and space to maybe care for myself better than I used to, through eating better, through taking, that shower that makes you feel better at the end of the day, or whatever it might be, but also really trying to be mindful of not doing things that I really don't want to do. And
Just for the
and
sake of
think,
making somebody else happy, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like if I know it's going to make me very unhappy to do this thing, or stressed or anxious or sick, or, whatever that kind of feeling might be, then I'm not going to do that anymore. And what's funny? I was so scared, Jen, to like say no to people. I was this person. How many people out there are also this person? I would say maybe. Or I would say yes. If I knew I wanted to do something, I would say yes. If I didn't want to do it, I couldn't say no. So I would say, oh, maybe. And then I would like cancel later, right?
Oh my
Through
God.
text or
Yes.
something like that. So, but when I first started being like, okay, I'm going to say no, I was so surprised that a lot of people were just like, okay. I'm like, what? Okay. Like I have been like over in my head, like, oh my God, if I say no to this and that might happen and this might happen. And all they're saying is, oh, okay, sure. What years of this? This is insane.
Oh, I think saying no is one of the highest forms of self-love that we can exercise. I really
Yeah.
do. I really do. Because like you said, when you're saying maybe, you're not all in it. You're not 100%, hell yeah. Okay. Obviously, you're doing something. You're saying maybe to please somebody else because they wanted to do something, right? And they're
Yeah.
just dragging you along basically because you don't really want to do it. But I think saying no and using those boundaries is such a high form of self-love. Why would we want to do anything unless our heart is completely into it? And it's something that really allows us to honor ourselves, right?
It's so very important. And I think earlier on, when I first got into meditation, I found this meditation. It's a guided meditation that I listened to. And I would just repeat. There was either like a Sanskrit mantra or sometimes some words in English. And there's one I specifically remember. And I feel like it helped me just to begin loving myself in a way that I wasn't loving myself. And that was trusting myself. So the words that I would repeat for like 8 minutes or something, however long that time was I trust, I trust, I trust myself. I
Yeah.
can trust the universe. I trust. And I feel like it just brought in, the more we're focusing on something, the more we're creating that as our reality. And I think I wasn't trusting myself somewhere along the lines. And we can go into that on other episodes because I've now figured out where along the lines some things happened that caused me to not trust myself, to not believe in myself, to not love myself, to think I was less than other people, to think that I needed to do things in order to receive love, or I needed to be different in order to receive love. And just like you were saying earlier on, we don't need to do anything to be lovable or to be loved. And if you're around people that aren't loving you or treating you right, either you need to do maybe some more reflection and work on yourself to increase that love and open yourself up to being able to love yourself, but also maybe you're around the wrong people. Because the right people will love you for exactly who you are. They'll love you through your flaws. They'll forgive you. I mean, of course, there's communication that's needed here. We need to be open with people. We need to be honest with people so that they know what's going on with you. People can't read your mind. They can maybe see that you're not doing well. But, you know, we do. That's something else I had to learn to do. Or I'm probably still working on that one. But getting better. Being a little vulnerable is tough. And I think that there's a number of things that we can do on a daily basis to love ourselves. And I know you are great. We talked last week about a lot of our daily routines and rituals that we've changed over the years and implemented healthier ones that allow us to feel better. That's self-love, right? Yes. One of my daily routines that is definitely, you know, helps me with self-love and in giving and receiving to myself is also to do with gratitude. And I didn't used to do this. So I started doing these gratitude lists years ago, and sometimes they're in my head and sometimes I write them down. All the things I'm thankful for, from the roof over my head to the food that I'm eating to this opportunity, that friend, the green grass, whatever it might be. I was never putting myself on that list. Today was one of the first times when we were like, what are we going to talk about today? And you'd mentioned self-love, and that popped into my head. And more recently, I just started doing that. Like, why am I not also thanking myself? So I noticed after the last few months, I don't know how it started, to be honest, or when, but I started giving myself these little hugs. Just putting a hand on each shoulder, like crossing my arms over my chest and giving myself a little hug. And sometimes, I know it looks cheesy, but I'll even like give my little wrist a kiss, like, thank you, like as if it's like a little child that you're giving a little love to. And I definitely do it now at the end of like any yoga practices or anything that I might be doing, like a namaste kind of thing. I always give myself a hug after that. But I'm trying to also add it in just throughout the day, especially if I'm not around people that I get hugs from. You know, sometimes you have days where you get a lot of hugs, which I hope a lot of people out there are getting a lot of hugs, but there's some days where we're not around anyone else or around people that you probably don't want to hug. So, you know, we can give ourselves a little love. It kind of amazes me just how good it feels.
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I love how you said that you've kind of had the light bulb moment about showing yourself gratitude, you know, being grateful for yourself and your body and everything that our body does for us. Like, if you stop and think, we are miracles of nature. Our bodies are incredible. Our bodies always want to be at a place of homeostasis. So even when we have an illness, our body is always working. The systems are always working together to bring us back to a point of health. It's just incredible. And I don't think that, for me, it was when I was pregnant with my daughter that it finally dawned on me what a miracle our bodies truly are. Because when I could look on the ultrasound screen and see this little body growing in my belly, and I was started to think, how does nature know where to put the arms and the legs and the eyes and all the organs and the bones? How does that work? How does that happen? It's just mind-blowing and incredible to me.
Absolutely. And that is another thing that I can't remember the name of the book. I really wish I could because it was amazing. And I think there's also videos on it. But basically, the main message is each of us is a miracle, and abundance in all its forms is our birthright.
Mm.
But we have so many blocks to believing that to be true, to receiving, to being open, to thinking we're even worthy of all those things. So I think if there's one thing we can do each day, and that's show ourselves some form, and if we can do it a few times a day, even better. So maybe I'm going to give everybody out there a little bit of homework this week.
Ooh,
Let's see
I love
if you
it.
can do a little challenge, even for 1 week. 3 weeks would be even better. Every day, can you do something intentionally that is showing yourself a form of self-love? So whether that's stopping to, give you feel like you're a little wired, and so you have a calming cup of tea, or you do a meditation, or you go for a walk, or you give yourself that hug, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah. Or you do the mirror work. Sit and look
Yeah,
at yourself in the mirror and just pay yourself the compliments,
yeah,
truly
yeah.
heartfelt compliments too. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a good one, Jen. Yeah, if everyone out there, can you find something to compliment yourself for every day? Something about yourself that you do love. And if it's not right now, is there something in the past that you got through that was so difficult that you didn't think you could get through, and you
Right.
did it? Right?
Yes.
That is amazing. So, be proud of yourself for that. And yeah, I just, it's amazing all these little ways that we can be showing ourselves how important we are, but yet here we are focusing on everybody else. And I think the
Yes.
more we can focus on ourselves, it opens us up to also accepting and receiving
Mhm.
more love and probably better treatment from other people as well.
Oh my gosh, that is so key. I was actually just thinking as you were talking that when we are practicing self-love, when we are truly giving ourselves that love, it's reflected back to us by our external world, by the people in our lives, by the situations that happen. So if we are experiencing, let's say, a person, a partner, a family member, a coworker who is unkind, who we have a struggle with or a problem with, confrontation with, there's probably a message there that we may be actually denying ourselves love in some shape or form. And it's being reflected back to us through this person or this external circumstance. So the bottom line here is practice self-love, and the love you give yourself will be reflected back to you through your external world and people in your life.
So wonderful. And why were we not taught that in kindergarten? That's the question.
Affirmations are positive statements that we can say out loud about ourselves to help anchor in new beliefs, right? Because if we've spent time in our life not loving the self, it's all programming, it's all subconscious programming, and we can reverse it. And one of the ways to do that is through using affirmations. So I like to say them out loud, and I also write them oftentimes too
Mm.
in my journal, either in the morning in my journaling or at the end of the night. I will sit and write affirmations out just to help anchor in the new programming and have my subconscious really soak in that message. And I have found them to be so helpful over the years.
They're so very helpful. I agree with you. Saying affirmations every day, whether practice similar ones or you go with how you feel that day or what you're needing, maybe add that in. Maybe you're not feeling strong. So start saying, like, think of times where you have been strong, like reinforce that, because it's true. Sometimes we just kind of forget.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to join you in that self-help circle for recovering people pleasers and recovering codependents.
It's a good place to be, right? Here, we'll practice right now. You can start. You can say, "Hi, I'm Jennifer."
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I'm a recovering people pleaser and codependent.
Yes.
Anybody
Yay.
else? Anybody else want to join our circle?
Seriously. And we can have a chat about I've gone to the depths of of learning about codependency. So happy to share some of what I've learned, because, oh my gosh, if I had known more about that along the way,
Mm.
that would have changed everything. But for me, in my journey towards delving into that and healing, that self-love has been a number one theme, and releasing the people pleasing, or just the need to care about other people's opinions more than my own,
Mm-hmm.
right? My opinion of myself is what matters. Other
Yes.
people's opinions, I'll leave you thinking about this. And that's that everyone we meet has a different impression of who we are.
Mm.
So their opinion does not really matter, because there's so many, first of all, sides of each of us that that person might have only seen a good one, or maybe they saw you road raging and they think you're a psycho, like, who knows? So, but what we know about ourselves is the truth, right? That guy may have seen me in that moment, maybe, being angry in my car or something, that he thinks I'm this angry person, or maybe that I'm like that all the time, but maybe I was just like that for 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And I know that I'm only like that once in a while or whatever. So we just need to remind ourselves sometimes that those outside opinions really don't matter. They just don't.
Yes. And we are whole and complete all by ourselves too. And
Yes.
that's been such a big message for me coming out of divorce, really, or going through this divorce. Knowing that I'm whole and complete all on my own. I don't need a partner to validate me. And I don't need another person to tell me I'm lovable or kind or smart or whatever else. I can give that attention to myself. And I actually just heard someone talking about how they take themselves on dates.
Yes.
Instead of waiting for a partner to come along to treat you to dinner or a movie, take yourself out to dinner. Take
Yeah.
yourself out for a nice meal. Go take yourself to the movie theater. Buy yourself flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Really fall in love with yourself. Get to know yourself. Date yourself. And then that can create the room for the right partner to come in once you already feel fulfilled within. Then the right partner can possibly come in,
Yeah.
but maybe they're complementing
Mm.
the work you've already done and reflecting back to you again what you already believe and know about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Treat yourself as you would want others to treat you, right? Teach
Mhm.
them.
How
Right.
to treat you. Yes.
That's
Treat
so
yourself.
important.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. We hoped you enjoyed this conversation. If you feel called to, please leave us a comment or review on the platform you heard us on today, or send us an email at trusttheeffingpodcast@gmail.com. If you are looking for additional support in your awakening journey or an intuitive reading about the bigger picture from Rebecca, you can find her on social media at Trust the Effing Process. If you are a woman looking for holistic health and weight loss support and would like a consultation with me, you can find me on social media at Jennifer_Fleischman_health coach, or email me, Jennifer@jenniferfleischman.com. Of course, all of these things will be listed in the show notes, so you can check those out. Always know that you are exactly where you should be at any given moment in your life, and everything is unfolding as it should be. So please remember to trust the effing podcast.